Forget your fancy mirrorless cameras. Leica who? The hottest trend in photography isn't megapixels, it's mega nostalgia. Digicams and compact cameras are back, and they're promising budget Leica and endless film. But digital? In this series, we crack open the plastic time capsule and see if they spit out gold or shite. The first camera in this series is the TZ101 or the ZS100 if you're in America. It's the most expensive camera in this series, but we'll see if you get the most bang for your buck. To test this little pocket rocket out, I went out in the rain in Nottingham. If you've seen any of our videos before, you'll know that we either shoot in the rain or at night time, which might explain why I'm so pale. I shot these two shaky monstrosity of B-roll shots on the Lumix. As you can see, there is no in-body stabilization that I can find on this. So you're just gonna have to put up with my shaky alcoholic hands. I really like this shot because of the different layers of yellow. It really frames the subject, the yellow person in the middle. The next shot, not so much. I zoomed in quite a bit for this shot. As you can see, I didn't quite match the shutter speed, so it looks a bit blurry. Oh yeah, the zoom on this camera is pretty wild. It goes from 25mm to 250mm, which is some serious length. And I'm not quoting your mother from last night. Look at that thing. I was shooting in RAW for all of these images, which I think for this series is the only camera that can shoot in RAW. But it comes at a cost, as this camera is quite expensive on this budget list. It's actually the most expensive camera on this list, but we'll get back to that in a minute. But the build quality makes up for it because it feels quite sturdy in the hands, which is good for a pocket camera because these things usually feel like they're made out of twiglets held together with prick stick. The colours seem a little bit off to me with this camera. Even when I edit in Lightroom, the colours still don't quite look how I want them to feel. So I lean heavily into the vibrant look because I just couldn't get the colours right. I don't know, you comment below, do you think the colours look right? To me, I don't know, there's something not adding up. This is my favourite shot of the day. I think if only that trolley wasn't there in the background, it would be perfect. But I took a picture of the culprit so we can collectively name and shame him. This next shot I took because I wanted a unique picture of the city, because the structure's not always going to be there, obviously it's just temporarily, it's just some scaffolding. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but when you shoot on these cameras, I feel like you look for different things. But yeah, I just wanted a unique picture of Nottingham that I don't think many other people are going to get, but I did have to wait a long time for this shot because it's an area of town that not many people go, especially on a Sunday when it's pissing it down with rain. And here's a light. I don't know, it felt like a good idea at the time. I might delete it later. The image quality with this camera is really good in good lighting, you know, think sunny day at the park. But if you step into the shade, the image quality does plummet quite a bit. That's down to the 1" sense sizer, and I know that you've been told 1" is enough, but for low light, it really isn't. I hate to disappoint you. But to be fair, you can recover more than you'd think in the edit, especially with the raw files on this. But let's be honest, when the lights go down at the after parties, you'll be popping that flash like it's a Heisenberg. How satisfying is this? Honestly, I could play with it all day. Anyway, for the next shot, I wanted to make use of the wide end of this lens, the 25mm, which is at f2.8 at the wide end. And there is a bit of distortion with this, but it's nothing that Lightroom editing can't undo. Oh, and just to mention, at the 250mm, you will be limited to 5.9 f-stop. So low light, you're probably not going to get away with the 250, but it's there. I'm sure a lot of the regular hyperfocal viewers have seen this before, behind the bars with a police officer and a naked muscular man watching you. I'm sure this is your average Saturday night. I wouldn't usually take this picture, believe it or not, but I find that when I'm using these small types of cameras, I just take quick snapshots. I'm not really trying to get the banger of my life. I'm just trying to get those quick little documented shots that show what I saw throughout the day, and that's what I like about it. Just the joy of it. It's just simple. As I find something I like, and that's it. I walk away from it. There's no real thinking into it. It's just point and shoot. Not a great photo, but as I said, it's just a point and shoot shot. Caught my interest, so I took a picture of it. You really do shoot differently on these little small point and shoot cameras compared to your big bulky mirrorless camera. I would have liked to stay here a little bit longer so I can get a matching hairstyle with the subject and the graffiti in the background, but I was getting absolutely soaked because at this point it was pissing it down. I just wanted to go home and have a coffee, but I powered on. And yes, I'm a neon whore. You all know this. What can I say? If I see neons, I'm going to take a picture of it. I don't make the rules. And lastly, a phone. I told you I shoot differently with these little small pocket cameras. I just like the metals and the rain. I just thought it looked pretty cool. After taking the photo, I used the camera to call Liam so that I could tell him that Nikon is still shit. But he didn't answer my phone call. After that heartbreak, I went to go get some food. I went to Costa, got myself a bacon roll and a mocha, and most importantly, to dry off because I was absolutely soaking. My final thoughts on the Lumix? Well, it's quite expensive for what it is. For a point and shoot, it's really expensive. In fact, it's £185, and that's $240 if you're a Yank. But it does feel the most premium of all the digi/compact cameras in this series, so there is that. And as I mentioned before, it shoots RAW, and as we all know, RAW is the best way to go. The image quality is actually really good with a 20 megapixel sensor. I think it's a Sony CMOS sensor in here, a 1-inch sensor. And I know what you're thinking, 1 inch is more than enough for street photography. Don't believe what she told you. I'll be honest, the main reason why I splashed out on this camera a little bit more than the other cameras is because it has a rangefinder rather than a traditional viewfinder on the top. And that tickled my Fuji prostate. But imagine my horror when I looked through the viewfinder and it's like looking through a dirty fishbowl. I'm not kidding. This viewfinder is the worst viewfinder I've ever looked through in my life. The image quality is so bad. It was so uninspiring that I just didn't even use it. That's the main reason I got it. Would I recommend this camera to you? Yes and no. If you're looking for a 1-inch sensor with lots of focal room, then this is definitely the camera for you, because 250mm on a little pocket camera like this is crazy good. Well, if $240 is a little bit too expensive for a little pocket camera for you, then there are definitely cheaper cameras out there. So stay tuned, because in this series there are going to be a much cheaper cameras that I'm going to review, and some might even be better than this one. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.